Happy Easter! Welcome to the Scoop World Order. He has risen. We appreciate all of you guys who are joining us on this wonderful holiday. I hope you guys are having some good times with your families right now. We are going an hour early today because of the Cavs game. So, again, we appreciate you guys tuning in at 6 today. We'll talk a little bit about a freshman All-American kid. Is a really special player, really played well versus the Miami Hurricanes. He's in the portal. He is one of the most coveted, maybe the most coveted guy in the portal at this point. So we're going to break him down a little bit, talk about him, and also take your questions. Again, we appreciate you guys joining us on this Easter Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great time with your families, celebrating. Again, it's an incredible day. He is risen. This is a huge day. So again, we appreciate all of you guys that are here. Take a little break and relaxing before the Scavs game tips off at 7. But again, we just appreciate you guys for all that you guys do. Again, also very thankful for our police officers, our military members, firefighters, people that might be away from their families on Easter, thinking about them as well. As always, thank you guys for paying it forward to the super chats. Again, we appreciate all that you guys do. I say that I appreciate you guys a lot because I really do. I mean it. We never take you guys for granted. And again, it's something that it's been so huge. If you enjoy our content, please say like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Additionally, if you could give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that'd be absolutely monumental and huge. So with that being said, I will bring in my good friend, Nevadabuck. Nevada, we've got another defensive lineman in the portal. This kid is really good. I watched this tape versus Miami. He had 6 tackles versus the Hurricanes in an upset, a game that started off, I think they were down 21-0, and then they fought back and ended up winning versus Cam Ward. But special player, freshman. Again, this is a kid that I think that we're gonna have to bid. It's Murad Watson with Texas, with Georgia. They're all after him along with us, but we've got a lot of need and we've got a lot of NIL money, so we think we have a good shot. What are your takes on this player? Just film fired up.
Well, I mean, look, this is a guy that Ohio State, is kind of targeted, and you've seen it as kind of other guys have kind of dropped off the radar, and before anybody's like, oh, we missed, like the kid from Vanderbilt ended up at Oklahoma State, and the kid from Liberty ended up at Cal. So when you look at that, when you look at the context clues of that, you realize that no, those probably weren't guys that Ohio State was really willing to kind of buckle up and go after and really put all their chips at the table. But a freshman All-American like this, no, they're definitely interested. This is a guy that they want. Not just a player that came in from high school without any bona fides. He's a guy that's done it in college. And that above all else is what Ohio State's looking for. Is they'll get development projects if they've seen them a little bit of tape in college, but they really want those guys that are players that have multiple years of eligibility. And this guy checks both boxes. Freshman All-American, really active guy on the offensive line, or defense line rather. Now, lots of people are going to be bidding for him. The question's going to come down, as it always does. Is this just about NIL, or does NIL just need to be sufficient, and you want to go to the best development type of situation? But Ohio State, when you talk to Ohio State feels really good about the guys that they're in this second portal window, and there's a calm about them. I seen this enough. You can tell when Ohio State's getting a little frantic or a little bit, but they're not at all. They seem to be focusing in on the guys that they want, getting, having good conversations with them. They got Atkinson coming in tomorrow, and no, so I'm excited about it, and I think Ohio State's got more than a puncher's chance on this, despite the heavy competition it's going to be for this freshman All-American.
Yeah, this is a big kid. I mean, this is a really, really big, stout kid. I'm gonna get his film on here for you guys real quick. But he's a moose. He's a nose guard. This is kind of the big, heavy guy that we kind of need. That we're really lacking right now. But he's a good athlete. And again, for a freshman to have 6 tackles versus the Miami Hurricanes. And Miami has a very good offensive line. So it was a lot of old 5-star kids. But here he is. He's playing. Kind of a G, like a G technique, just for the football vernacular, is kind of this inside shade of this guard right here. They call that a G, just like a G. And he's right on this kid and doesn't move him an inch. And so and again, this kid's 18 playing against 22-year-olds. So that's it's impressive watching him. Not a huge pass rusher, only 1 sack on the season, but again, you need a guy who's big and physical and can stop the run. That's how this guy's going to make the money. And again, like, when you look at Georgia coming after this kid, Texas, I mean, it kind of tells you all you need to know about his um, ability. It's interesting. Like, Texas is after him. So it's like, I don't know what's going on with Hero Canoe, but they already acquired him. So, he's a load, and again, you need some guys like this that are good against the run. Ideally, you have three or four. That's why I keep going back to saying that this past year might have been the best team in college football history. But like when you look at our top four defensive tackles from this past season with Ty Leak and Ty Hamilton, then off the bench you've got Edric Houston, and Caden McDonald. That's as good of a four as I've ever seen at Ohio State. I mean, the more I think about it, I'm more of like, yeah, we had some monsters in there. And Hero. I mean, Hero was, the fourth or fifth guy, whatever you want to call it. So he was rotating in there, but he was clearly the least of the four, but he played, a pretty good amount. But yeah, this kid, like I said, his tape, he's a big dude, and again, big guys that are athletic that can play as freshmen. Hey, it's a thing where, it's hard to build a program like Syracuse when you have a freshman All-American walking out the door and heading to Texas or Ohio State or Georgia or whatever. But I like this kid. I think that Ryan put out the APV for all defensive tackles in the world to basically, call us because we need you. And again, I love the two types for me are either the bona fide plug and play starter like Max Clare or the freshman with a lot of potential who maybe got missed, got missed out in the recruiting cycle. Clearly this kid has outplayed his Syracuse commitment and offer, and that's how he feels. Because again, I always say, like, with these smaller schools or these mid-tier schools, nobody dreams of playing at Syracuse. There's not kids in the South or in Ohio that say, man, I want to go play for Syracuse one day. They all want to play for Georgia or Ohio State or Bama, Texas. Like, so when they get a chance to kind of redo it, hey, I mean, this is a kid I'd love to have. Now again, the money will be interesting to see how that goes, but yeah, big-bodied, tough kid. Nevada, again, Bo Atkinson's coming tomorrow, and he's really good. I think he would be our best defensive end if he signed up here. 7.5 sacks at North Carolina last year. Really, really good player. I'm gonna toss his tape on next. What are your thoughts about Atkinson? 'Cause I think that that edge pass rush is something that concerns me because I don't know how good our two edge guys are right now compared to last year. Clearly not as good against the run, but they're very, very young and green and chomping at the bit. And honestly, I think that Matt Patricia is really good at moving the fronts and getting things to be different. But what are your thoughts on Bo Atkinson? Get his tape on.
Well, I mean, again, this is a guy that, when you're talking about the list is kind of, whittling its way down where you've got, Pikes, who's kind of a longer term development project, David Stone, Watson, and Atkinson. And Atkinson's clearly at the top of the list. I think he's the best defensive lineman in the second portal window. So, unless somebody else enters the portal, which could happen, if you get Atkinson, I feel like you did as good as you can have done in the second portal window. If you don't get Atkinson, I'm not saying it's a miss. I mean, we'll survive, but you didn't get the best. So, for me, I won't say success or failure is driven by whether or not we get Atkinson, but he's the top guy. I mean, he's the guy that you want. He's the guy that can really help you out. He's the guy that can, what, 6.5, 7.5 sacks or whatever it was last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the type of kid that could really help this year. And, for Ohio State, that's what you're looking for. And the way that Ohio State's been recruiting, as hot as they've been, as committed as the NIL partners have been to the program and coming off a national championship, I just don't know how we're not the chalk for a kid like that. And, I like having the second visit, where you have a chance to really, I mean, what's going to be more impressive in the world than coming to Ohio State the year after they just won the national championship? And seeing the rings and seeing the banners and seeing the trophies and everything else that kind of comes along with that. I mean, I just, like I said, to me, it would be a major upset if we don't get them. Now, I've learned to never say never when it comes to recruiting, and I've been surprised before. But I think in this age of NIL, that's why I used to always put equal signs on guys when they made a commitment or a side commitment anymore. He can't do that because things can change quickly. But I'll say my confidence is high that we get Atkinson. Ohio State's confidence is really high that they're getting Atkinson, but we'll find out. I mean, we'll know a lot more once he gets on campus because that's when the rubber meets the road, and that's when you kind of look the kid in the eye and can really kind of size him and the people that are around him up about what his objectives are and what his motivations are. But Ohio State feels really good about it, and because they feel good, I feel good.
Yeah, and I think that that's the important thing is you got to get these kids that are the culture fits, especially when they're older. You know, what I mean, because you're gonna give this kid some money, but again, you look at his tape and it's like this kid's a really good edge rusher. I think he's the best defensive player in the portal right now. I think, just because of the production. Again, there's a lot of I mean, we did David Stone yesterday, and we're doing, a lot of these kids were breaking the tape down, and they got 1 sack, 2 sacks, 10 tackles, 30 tackles, whatever. This kid had 7.5 sacks, in the ACC, beating South Carolina's tackles like a drum. Really plays with a ton of effort. So he's really good against the run too, and so that's kind of the thing I want is like I like the complete guys, obviously. And I'm not sure if either of our guys are as complete, but I think that this kid is special. And again, I'm with you. I don't know how, if you're a kid and you have a chance to come here, how on earth you don't do it. Just because between the culture of the program, the the overall winning, obviously the title is that was kind of the last like jewel in the crown for Ryan Day is to get that national championship. Now we have that, and we're the reigning national champions. So I don't know. And Columbus is an incredible city, and I don't think there's been a kid who's come here from the portal that hasn't enjoyed it, hasn't liked it. I mean, Josh Simmons loved it here. He's going to be a first round pick. He's a kid who, I mean, changed his life. I mean, he might have made it to the NFL at San Diego State. I mean, you can, obviously. I mean, Marshall Faulk played there, and Kyle Turley and some really good players played at San Diego State. But are you going to have all of the inputs that you need when you've got, like Mickey Marotti, the strength training, the recovery stuff that we have? I mean, our recovery stuff in the Woody Hayes facility is incredible. I mean, it's stuff that most people can't afford, but we can. So that's something that, like, I don't think people realize how nice it is. Like, it's better than a lot of NFL facilities. So to me, these kids, I think they get up here, they see what we have and how much better they can make themselves. And plus, like, I love the competition. Like, if I'm this kid, I want to go against Ethan Onyonwa, who I think is going to be one of the top 5 tackles in the nation coming into next year's draft. And I want to go against, Ryan Day's offense, and I want to play for Matt Patricia. And the thing, like I said, that'll be interesting, and I'm sure Matt Patricia will get some intel. It'll probably be a little icy with Mike Lombardi and Bill Belichick, or 2 guys that he literally did a podcast with all year last year. But what's the intel on this kid? Why is he leaving? And again, like, maybe some you don't want to be a part of the rebuild, you don't like the new culture, whatever. But coming here is going to be very, very enticing. As as we get into this thing, and I'm like you, like, I don't, we get these kids, great. We don't get them, we'll survive. I'm like that with every recruit, I mean, except for maybe JJ Smith, but even without JJ, we still survive. Nevada, as we get into camp season, which I know you love camp season, there's nothing more boring in the world than these recruiting camps. What do you want to hear from inside the Woody Hayes? Like, what kind of development do you want to hear about from Brian Hartline, from these players? What are the things you look forward to when we get kind of the intel from summer training? Because summer training is always great, because we always get a lot of intel on how guys test out, how guys run. I think that's always great. What are some things that you're looking forward to hearing about?
Well, with Brian Hartline, it's going to be interesting to kind of see what his influences are and kind of the what is his summer regimen, what is his off-season regimen, who's he going to consult with, what kind of offensive coordinator is he going to be? Because we knew when Chip Kelly came here what we were getting, and with most of the offensive coordinators, we've known because we've been able to see their pedigrees are pretty straightforward. You can have a really good idea of what the Ohio State offense is going to be about. But I think with Brian, I've talked to people close to Brian, talked to people there at the Woody Hayes, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes and where he goes to consult, because everybody does that during the offseason. They all go and they spend time with other people to learn about their trade. And that's what's great about football, is how willing really smart people are to, to talk to you about what they do, and there's not this, like resistance, or they view it as competition. They like sharing things. And for Brian, I was so impressed with and how smooth the spring game went. And not every spring game's like that. And we had the Michigan spring game yesterday, and it was terrible. And not every spring game do the quarterbacks look so good. The offense hums right along, and things just seem to to cook. It's we made it look easy, but it wasn't easy. But for me, I just really want to see who his influences are, so I can get a better handle on what kind of offense he's going to be running. And with Patricia, the same thing with his college defense, because I know what he's like in the pros, but in college, it's not the pros. It's in college is completely different. And there's different expectations you can have of college players than you can have of pro players. And he's kind of shared that already. I mean, Matt really seems to be embracing the college life. And I'm not saying he's going to be a better college coach than he was a professional coach, but he's enjoying it in a different way. And I think at his core, Matt's a teacher, and he likes the kind of the teaching aspect of the thing. It's kind of professorial. And I want to hear about more what he's got planned for the defense, because no matter who we get in the second portal, we've got some questions on the defensive line. We've got depth questions on the defensive line. We've got questions about the starters, about how good they are against the run. So I just want to hear about what is the plan for how we're going to get after the quarterback, how we're going to stop the run. I'm not really worried about the defensive secondary. I know we'll be able to cover. I know our safeties will come up and run support. I feel really good about our linebackers. But I really want to hear more about what the defensive line's going to do, how they're going to protect those guys, how they're going to rotate those guys, what pieces do they feel that they have, and what things can they do to support those guys in their quest of returning Ohio State to the national championship in 2025. Those are the biggest thing. Two brand new coordinators. Really just want to hear more about what they're doing, and how they're going to go about doing it.
Yeah, I think that that's a great point. I think that, you talk about the visit. So what Nevada is talking about is oftentimes during the summer, it actually works out great because NFL teams have OTAs, which are called organized team activities, which are practices. They practice in the summer, not in pads, but you're in helmets. So a lot of coaches will go visit certain programs. If it's, Urban used to go watch the Patriots practice, or go watch the Jets, or whoever. A lot of times there will be somebody that they might know on staff, and they'll get invited out, and maybe they go watch the Browns practice for a day, or go watch because they're not there to be a fan. They just like to watch different drills and how organizations work. And again, I think it's excellent. I think it's something that I frankly had a kind of a bird's eye view when I worked at the Woody Hayes. I worked for Urban. Because I kind of got to see how he ran his program after being in Trust's program. So you can see there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences though. And, with football, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. So it's always good to get out there. And I think it's healthy to get out there and learn new ideas and experiment a little bit. I mean, I think that, it'd be interesting to see if anyone goes out to Vegas and visits with Chip Kelly. Because, I mean, Chip is working with Pete Carroll, who's one of the greatest coaches of all time, in my opinion, because he's won national championships in college and a Super Bowl in the NFL, there's a very short list of people that have done that. It's like him, Jimmy Johnson, and a few others. But I just think that it's always good, if you've got some sort of a trait or something that you're looking for. I'd be curious, if you met with the head coach of Carolina. He did a great job kind of revitalizing Baker Mayfield's career at Tampa. And obviously, Julian Sain is a shorter quarterback, much like Baker, and Baker's making, $40 million a year now as a franchise guy for the Buccaneers. So, what are some things that you might do with a quarterback who isn't 6'4", like Will Howard and like your prototype quarterbacks? So again, I'm always looking for something. And an instance that we had in 2006 is when Beanie Wells showed up to campus, and he was a man child. We already had Antonio Pittman, who's a very, very good running back. So we had two kind of superstar running backs. And so our guys went down and visited with the New Orleans Saints, and they visited with Sean Payton. and tried to figure out, how to use the two running backs because they had just taken Reggie Bush and they had Deuce McAllister, and then in the undrafted they actually got Pierre Thomas. So I mean they had like a pretty loaded room, but when you've got two really good running backs like Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush, how are you going to use them both? So our offensive staff went down and clinicked with them, and they talked about some of the stuff that they were going to do and what could we do with Beanie and Pitt. And it was funny because in the spring we were running all this two running back stuff, and I thought it was great because Beanie and Pitt were two of our best 11 on offense, clearly. So how could we get them both on the field at the same time? So like some of the stuff that we did this year with Quinshawn and Trey, which I thought was really hard to go against and good stuff. And then I don't think we never ran a single play of it in this season. We like put it on mothballs, but finding wrinkles and things that are different, because there's nothing that's more devastating to a program, especially one that just won a national championship, than groupthink and complacency. And I think getting out and spreading your wings and clinicking, and a lot of times you'll send guys to different places and they'll clinic with each other, and they'll talk, and I think it's really good. I mean, we had our defensive staff actually clinicked with Georgia. This is in like 2004. And they got a bunch of good drills from them, and they started using this thing that they called it the chicken coop, but it's just like this mat where you have to bend your knees and change direction and stuff. It's like a thing on wheels, and it's like got a mat over top of it, but it's low, so it's basically for DBs to work in the back pedal. But defensive linemen, offensive linemen, they do it's like a chute where you have to stay low for 3 or 4 steps before you can come up and raise up. So it's just to train you to keep your knees bent. So it's always interesting to see what other teams use for drills and that type of thing. And I like it, because I always like when we'd find a good new drill and something that would work and would be prevalent. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what they do. We got a super chat. Appreciate you. I have never seen this one before. Hemp Wizard Beer Care Company. So if you guys have beards, holler at my boy right here. Hemp Wizard Beer Care Company. Thanks for the deuce, and happy Easter, Nevada OH. Yeah, I wish you a happy Easter as well. I wish I had a beard. My beard grows it all like Joe Dirt, all patchy and terrible, so I keep it shaved. Nevada does not have a beard either, but if any of you guys have beards, holler at her, dude. Nevada, what did you guys have for Easter dinner?
We did the ham, did the old honey baked ham.
Oh my God!
It's I just kind of went back to the well.
You had your ham window the other day. You're like, I got my 15-minute honey baked ham, and you're.
But all those other suckers were in line waiting, and I just cruised up there, had my little thing, flashed my little thing. They give me my thing. I got my little ham rewards thing, so I got ham points and everything. I got my ham and was out of there. I was out of there in like 10 seconds while those other suckers were parked out in the parking lot, man. And I cruised on with my ham.
Did you like have flashbacks like you're like at Club Live at the Fountain Blue, and you started walked right in front of everybody that was in line, and they just like flashlighted you in there and gave you your ham?
Oh no! When the club at the Hard Rock Hotel, I go up there right at the front of the line and go, Macaulay Culkin, this way, sir. I'll show you your table. Thank you very much.
That is one of the greatest Nevadabuck nuggets of all time. That the secret password to get into the club is Macaulay Culkin.
It got you everywhere at the Hard Rock. Everywhere at the Hard Rock, man. Macaulay Culkin. Got your special prices on your food at the Lucky Seven Cafe. I mean, it was all that. Get your free drinks, everything. Macaulay Culkin.
That is the craziest thing of all time, and it doesn't even exist anymore. Now it's like the Richard Branson Hotel.
This is how old I am. I was there the night the Hard Rock opened, and I was there the night the Hard Rock closed. So
what year did it open?
I want to say 93, 94 or something like that. Yeah, because it was about the same time when we had the Thunder. So I was 94, 95, something like that. Yeah.
And when did it close? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah, in the last 5 years. Yeah, in the last 5 years. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, in 04 when I went there, it was the Cosmopolitan. It was the spot. It was
the spot. Yeah, it was
the youngest, the hottest. It was crazy. And I was like, this place is amazing. I love this place. And the only thing that sucks is off the strip, but everything else is amazing. And then it's just, I don't know what happened to it. I mean, I don't know how that brand, because I mean, that's still like a hot brand in Florida. The Hard Rock, the guitar hotels and stuff. Actually, the guy that designs the guitar hotels is actually on our website. because he called me one day for customer service, and he says, "Yeah, I design all of the Hard Rock Cafe hotels and casinos." And I was like, "The guitars?" He's like, "Yep, that's me." And I was like,
You came up with the idea of the guitar. It's like I came up with the idea of the guitar.
I came up with the idea of Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay
That is
Culkin.
absolutely
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we had steak. We're not ham folks
You
around
didn't,
here,
you
man.
didn't,
No
you had
ham.
good steak. Oh, that's good.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fire.
that's not very Eastery though. How do your choppers hand up? You got new choppers? How they handle the steak and everything like that? Did you have
Good.
somebody else chew? Do you
Small
have somebody else
bites.
chew the food and then spit it
Yeah,
into your
yeah,
mouth or something like
yeah.
that?
Kim did. Like I was like an infant bird. I was in the nest just like this, and like Kim like chewed it and like dumped it in my mouth, and I just ate it. So I was feeling pretty good about myself, you know. No,
Oh gosh,
we're all intact, baby, all
that's good.
intact. So,
I love it.
well, we are jumping the shark, but we're getting ready for this game, and I'm excited for this game. So let's wrap this thing up. Nevada, any final thoughts?
No, just I'm excited to have Bo Atkinson on campus, man. That's the kid that I want. And not gonna. I mean, there's always kids you want, but there's kids that you really want. I really want us to get this guy. If we get him,
Oh,
I'm gonna be legit excited. Again, will we be fine if we don't? Yeah, of course. But I will be legit excited if we get him, and I think we will. But we're gonna know a lot more about that in the next day or two. So stay tuned.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys. I know that you guys are with your families, and I wish you guys a happy Easter. Again, as always, yeah, it's a little shorter show today, but it's family time today. But again, I love you guys to death, and we're always on here. And we're gonna knock one out because there was some good info. I got some good intel today on that transfer. So again, I appreciate you guys. If you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, thank you guys, and happy Easter to you guys. He is risen. What an amazing day. Beautiful day in Ohio too. So if you guys are around town, get outside. I'm gonna go for a walk. It looks really nice out. So I appreciate you guys so very much as always, and I'm very thankful for you guys for all that you guys do, supporting the channel, spreading the good word, coming to the meetups, everything you guys do. Love you guys to death, and I'm so grateful for you guys. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your Easter. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.